Please, Colonel. Good afternoon, dear colleagues. Yesterday, in the ATO area, terrorists actively fight at the Ukrainian positions, but at night, the attacks ceased. At 1 a.m., we registered shelling at positions at Shasta of Luhansk Oblast at 215. Another attack of terrorists against the Donetsk airport was repelled. After that, no shelling and fire. And yesterday, attacks were repelled at Debaltsevo, not far from Brodivka of Krasnoarmeysk district, and Nikishina of Shakhtarsk district. In Donetsk, Kiev town council, National Guards repelled an attack and prevented breakthrough of the subversive intelligence group of Russian mercenaries. At Shast, 3 times there was shelling from mortars against the position of ATO and Luhansk heat and power plant. Over that day, we have 1 person killed and 13 wounded. In the course of that day, there were now clashes at the border. At the same time, yesterday, during the period from 8 to 10 p.m., drones, 3 drones were registered in the area of Mariupol at the height, altitude more than 1 kilometer. Yesterday, after rotation from the National Guard, 1st Reserve Battalion, named after General Kuchitsky, came back to the units. Over recent month, the guards were guarding road posts at Debaltsevo. Over last week, 115 units of machinery were repaired, 31 tanks, 51 personnel carriers, 12 armored vehicle BTR 75, 5 vehicles, and 11 artillery system, 5 BTR 3 personnel carriers. The last night was relatively calm at Donetsk, but in the daytime there was some firing at the residential areas. The emergency services received many calls reporting destroyed buildings and fires. Yesterday, 2 civilians were killed in Donetsk. 13 of them had shell and wounds of different degree of seriousness, especially Petrivsky, Kievsky, and Kuybyshev districts suffered because of the shellings and explosions. Residential houses and industrial enterprises suffered. The systems, the utilities are still functional in the emergency mode. At Pavlopil, Novozovsk district, 20 terrorists took local mayor from his house, and there were some shelling from mortars in the direction of Ukrainian armies for provocation. The Ministry of Education from the Russian Federation supplied some handbooks and textbooks. Now they are trying to introduce the discipline of Russian law. I would like to say that local education institutions which are not operating according to the laws of Ukraine will be deprived of the allowances. 24 medical institutions suffered in Donetsk. The discontent is growing in Donetsk against terrorists, and there are clashes between Russian military officers and terrorists. Jacek Saryusz-Wolski, rapporteur of the European Parliament, announced that at least for last 10 years, Russia was arming itself and getting ready for the military aggression. It was our mistake to think that our active efforts to build up strategic partnership with Moscow will civilize Russia, and this is in the situation when for at least last 10 years Russia was arming itself and getting ready for the military aggression. Head of the Parliamentary Assembly of the Council of Europe and Brussels announced possible termination of Russian membership in the Assembly in January 2015. If anything changes by that time, there is a big likelihood that the delegation of the Russian Federation will be expelled from the parliament because we cannot continue our collaboration with them, said the Brussels Minister of Defense of France, Jean-Yves Le Drian, announced that France is going to have joint operation with Germany in the nearest future to monitor ceasefire in Donbass. Minister of Defense of Germany, Ursula von der Leyen, also announced that the agency is ready to provide all the necessary support. The details are being developed and finalized. Journalists that plan to prepare their footage in the area of the terrorist operation should be accredited, and this is mandatory with the Security Service of Ukraine, and they have to be instructed as to how they should conduct the operations at the area. Contacts for accreditation, all the particulars are available at the site of the Security Service of Ukraine. Some additional information: last night, 2 drones arrived in Ukraine that will be used for the monitoring mission in the conflict area for the stripe, or for the line, for the stripe that is delineating two sides, separating them. Now the drones are being cleared at the customs, and the nearest future, the operators will arrive. They will be used to make monitoring mission more effective and more precise, and it's registered information from the field.
Do we have any questions? Yeah. Could you please tell, we received information that finally OSCE provided the drones to Donbass. If that is true, please confirm it, and please tell us how many. Today at night we received 2 drones. 2 now. These are the first ones, and they are now being cleared through the customs. Now, in the future, the OSCE mission will expand its work, and now they are working with the Russian and Ukrainian observers who work in this delineation zone. There's a planned work being conducted as to planning the routes and delineating the areas where they will be operating. The routes are being done there to clear. Customs clearance takes several days, but how many will they be provided by the OSCE? How many drones? 2, we understand that for such a territory. I'm not military, but I believe that's too little. We need more. We're talking about the first 2 that we have received, and we need to understand that there will be the personnel who is the personnel of the OSCE. They will be basically controlling these drones. How many more drones we will get, we will inform you. We are talking about what's happening, what has happened. There's information that there are some changes near Mariupol, that Russian troops start regrouping there. Has the situation changed there? It's quiet there. Before the briefing, I just talked over the phone to the commandership of ATO zone and the representatives of ATO who are in Mariupol. They confirmed that the situation is quiet, but the subversive groups of the enemy are quite active, but the defense is quite effective, and the situation is being monitored. There were no shellings of the city observed. In half an hour, Mr. Dzhemilev will be here, and he said that in Crimea there are more than 40,000 Russian military who anytime are ready to invade the continental part of Ukraine. Do we have enough forces and means to counteract this aggression? You have this ATO map, which includes this brown color. The brown color gets to Mariupol. That's the border of the former Donsky army. That's Novoazovsk. Mariupol is over there. Please give more exact map. So what is the situation? The situation in Crimea. There are many military, not 40,000 less, but we have enough forces and means to meet the enemy and to adequately respond. There's information about Slavyano-Serbsk that it's not Ukrainian. Is that true? And can you also tell why are we leaving the settlements? As of this morning, Ukrainian military have not withdrawn a single meter away from the positions which are in the first protocol from the 5th of September, the protocol signed in Minsk. Starting from the 5th of September, our military are at the same positions, and no one withdrew anywhere. We know that today the hottest point in ATO zone is Donetsk airport. What is the situation with the takeoff and running strip? The Russians are attacking the airport. Can the airport receive airplanes, or is everything just ruined there? The takeoff and landing strip is in satisfactory condition. It can take even heavy aircraft that can deliver weaponry and personnel. That's several kilometers. And what's your assessment of this month of ceasefire? It's already a month of ceasefire. We cannot give a big assessment, but we can make some preliminary conclusions that starting from the 5th of September, when the ceasefire regime was announced, since then we managed to liberate several hundred of our military servicemen and peaceful citizens who were taken hostages by terrorists. And also we managed to restore the military equipment. We managed to receive new armaments and equipment. We launched, we started some changes at the plans of defense sector. We also managed to regroup our forces to do more intelligence and get more information about the enemy. Besides, we managed to complete the third wave of mobilization, which was taking place, and it has been completed. We managed to replace the units and give the chance for military to have some rest after all these battles, and During this time, we managed to draw attention of international community to real events taking place in Donbass, because during active military actions, few could understand what was happening. I'm talking about international community. Now, when the Ukrainian military are not are not an offense, we understand more what's happening on the territories where terrorists are. Thank you, Andriy Mykolaievich. And the next press briefing of Mr. Lysenko will take place tomorrow.